I'm Jennifer and this is on Earthrelics, and today I'm going to be showing off the product of some of my organizational efforts over the course of the past few months. After I did my craft room rehaul, I still had a lot of organizing left to do, and my vintage Redmond baskets played a big part in that. They were part of the decor inspiration for the room, but also were the thing that I was planning to use for a lot of storage of things that are a little bit more unwieldy. So let's go ahead and take a look at some of the things that landed into various baskets around the craft room. This one's got some stamps in it, and it's pretty much packed to the gills here in terms of various actual stamps, ink pads for stamping, my embossing gun and embossing powders, and just about everything I can cram down in there. As the name suggests, this basket is all about beads, and this is where I keep various beading supplies. It doesn't look super great inside, but it looks a whole lot better in a basket than it does if all of that stuff just kind of open on a shelf. So these baskets are where I stash all of my ribbons and yarns and strings and those kinds of things. This one's a little bit messier, but I rifle through it quite a bit. So in this beauty, I've got a whole bunch of vintage lace. I love this one in particular because it's actually got two sides that you can open and tuck stuff down into. So that's a spot where I can corral lace for crafting. And in this one, we've got a whole bunch of vintage linens. I love finding these, and again, I just had these in a tote before and they took up a lot of space. So it was great to kind of fold those down and get them into a single basket. On the other side, I have kind of vintage hankies and different things, other kind of linens, fancier ones. Anyway, yeah, you can stuff a whole lot of vintage linen down into a picnic basket. So I also use a lot of boxes in my crafting, and this basket, I've got a ton of vintage cigar boxes and other kinds of boxes, either flattened or just folded down in there. Some of them are really fun. Like, look at that. Like, that is just begging to be crafted with at some point. So yeah, I can tuck a whole lot, especially if I stack different sizes boxes inside other boxes, so you can get a ton of boxes. I love this basket too because it's actually got the old Redmond logo before they changed it over to Red Mun as opposed to Red Man. So that one's really cool. I love this one because it is one of my favorite collections. These are old vintage paper dolls, and that's a fun one. And then there's just stacks of books down in there of paper doll books, as well as a box that has lots of vintage paper dolls kind of stacked down into it. So you can kind of see the difference. So that one's got Red Mun as opposed to the Red Man. Same manufacturer, Peru, Indiana. This basket's a little bit rougher, but as you'll see on the bottom, I left the price tag on there. It's got like a $3.99 Goodwill price tag, and I may or may not have actually paid the $3.99 because a lot of times I still find these at the Goodwill outlet. So it's just whatever it weighs, and they don't weigh a whole lot. This one's got cookie cutters. And who doesn't need a whole basket full of horses? So this is where I keep plastic horses and horse-related things. I'm planning to do a giant wreath with horses all the way around it. I thought that would be a fun derby project. So stay tuned. We'll see if that actually happens this year. But I have plenty of horses to accomplish that task. And they all live in here. So the baskets underneath my sewing table are where I keep all of my various items for kind of vintage assemblages of sorts. This one's got some metal things in it as well as some flowers. And this one's all plastic stuff, kind of sorted into different collections that I'm able to use and pull out for different themed collages. I don't always find baskets that have their lids, and I try to find purposes for them as well. So my little mailing station where I keep a lot of my mailing supplies is down in another little basket that's worse for wear, but it's getting a good second go of life as a little mailing station. In addition to my vintage baskets, I also have used some vintage bread tins as a way to store different objects as well. I've got a couple of those here from different eras. And I also use these wire baskets for things that I kind of like to display. So like things like flowers, or I love old sewing notions and things like that.